Hey folks, we're here with Wyatt Park and Steven Errickson, and I think you've seen them both before. Back again, and some new exciting stories to tell. It's just amazing where our careers take us, and the growth of companies, the growth of our own careers, and how we continue to network together. And this one was kind of special, near to my heart, because we got to introduce and connect you guys through maybe even your dad or friends of friends, and get started and network. So I'm very excited you guys came back, and we get to get caught up and hear about what's new in both of your lives. But Steve's here, and he always brings such nice treats. And today we have a very nice single malt Scotch whiskey. So we'll go ahead and start.
It better be good.
It better be good. Yes, it better be
I haven't had this one yet, so.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, is to get something you haven't had, do first impressions live on the air in an environment where it can be cut out if it doesn't end up being good.
It said American on the bottle, so it had to be good.
That one's for our media man, Jacob, right there, because not getting left out.
Yes, sir. You can leave that part in. It makes me more personable.
Oh, man. And now I am confused. So it's Scottish, or it's American, or it's the Scots got a hold of an American oak barrel.
American oak, yeah.
Ah.
I think typically what happens is the country will buy an old bourbon barrel and use like old bourbon barrels to age Scotch.
Well,
because bourbon can only be aged in a barrel one time.
We're very happy that the Scots learned about our American bourbon barrels. Well, cheers, gentlemen. Thank you for bringing this. That was very nice. I appreciate you guys coming back.
Hey, no problem.
There's Jacob's cheersing over there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could taste the oak barrel just by smelling it. It's pretty good. You happy?
Nice.
Yeah.
You're happy with your selection?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, this one's kind of special, so maybe we'll start. Wyatt, your career has grown again, and what are you up to?
So, career-wise, I just took a job. I was actually headhunted for it. They hit me up on LinkedIn at Recurrent Energy as like site lead technician level 3, which we talked about last time was the next logical step, is Tech 3. I currently run, like personally on site, my main job is I run both Slate battery storage and Mustang battery storage, owned by Emanate, and then Slate solar PV, one of our other technicians run.
Those are the site names?
Yes.
Okay.
Slate Solar, Slate BESS, and Mustang BESS.
All right. Well, congrats on the new role, the promotion, new company.
It's cool. It's more responsibility. I went from running a 26 megawatt DC, 20 megawatt AC site in my little substation, couple units, to I think it's like 500 megawatts of PV total and like 980 megawatt hours of BESS.
Oh,
it's a lot.
Interesting. That is large.
It's very large.
How close to home is it?
About an hour and a half. It's up in Lemoore.
Oh, Lemoore. Okay.
But it's actually so, I watched the show with Tyler, and when he was talking about commissioning batteries in Lemoore, one of my sites is the one he commissioned.
Oh, very cool.
So while he was talking about that, I was like, oh, hey.
You know that one. Oh, very cool. Do you know Tyler?
I do. Yeah. I met him from, I went to Rise twice.
Okay.
So I met him up there, and I'm a fantastic technician. Really cool dude. Much smarter than me. One of those moments, and my dad does a lot, where he's like, hey, that guy's smarter than me. I couldn't do that. Yeah. I'm still at that level with Tyler. Like, I could not do what he does. That dude is a brain.
Yeah. He's doing great. I loved hearing his stories. And man, he couldn't help himself from teaching during the questions. I just loved it. Just sharing knowledge.
I think he was talking about the capacitor thing again with you, and that's one of those big ones that I still try to show guys, like, hey, a capacitor without load is DC. You have to test it DC, because otherwise, like, you risk getting hit touching it. Mm-hmm. And I learned that at Rise. I learned that from San Juan, and from John, and from Wanakuna, and from Tyler. Like, those guys have hammered that home so much that in my head it's just there. And like at all times it's, hey, do you know how this works? Oh yeah, no, I hadn't heard about that. This is how that works. Just so you know, I just feel the need to tell everyone I meet now, like, hey, this is how capacitors work. It's funny when you tell someone that knows and they're like, yeah, I know. Oh, my bad.
Don't stop telling, though.
Well, I mean,
there'll be plenty of people that need that info.
Safety is safety. I've got no problem sharing.
Yeah. Well, congrats. What kind of new stuff how long have you been there?
So I've officially been there for a month.
Okay.
Fresh. As of today, 1 month. And in that month, I had my firstborn son was born. Congratulations. And I have worked a lot of hours. And also learned some cool stuff. We talked about this, myth of the boss thing the last time I was on. And I still, like, I'm with you. I still would not call myself the boss, but like to be the liaison between the different OEMs that we have under warranty and, the different, site contractors and site services. It's definitely been a change. And it's been, I found myself coming back and watching our episode and listening to what you and my dad talked about when it comes to, like, leading a team correctly and, like, being the point person on site. Yeah. And that's been really helpful. So that was part of the impetus behind doing this again, is, hey, this has happened now. And I've also got, other family things, and I got to meet Steven, and I was like, hey, this could be a good conversation. Like, this would be fun to sit down.
How did you two get introduced and connected?
Nick, like,
tell the story.
Not even 48 hours after we left here that day, was like, hey,
on the RE Plus wrap up,
I'll pull up the thread. It was something along the lines of, Steven, this is Wyatt. Wyatt, this is Steven. You guys need to meet. Like, I'll let you take it from here. It was essentially something like that. I mean, it's deep in here somewhere, but yeah, he just introduced me after me and Nick met. After that happened, I got onboarded with Recurrent. Wyatt pushed to get me onboarded. One of our other clients was doing work with a project here in Lancaster, and we got hired to do the inverter swap. And because Recurrent found out that I was doing the inverter swap, they basically hired us to do a lot of the D-term and reterm and all the other work associated with that as well. That particular inverter manufacturer, when we do these skid swaps or these transformer swaps, they generally don't let us touch the termination portion, because it's usually the client's responsibility. So that was kind of neat, and I think they looked at it as an opportunity. It was like, hey, let's get the same company out here to do the whole job.
If you're already going to be there, might as well do and then it's the same QA QC all the way through completion of the job. Like, if you end up doing a bad job, they can be like, hey, we don't want this guy here anymore.
Yeah.
If you do a good job, the next time that they have the same event happen, just, hey, let's do what we did last time.
Just one phone call away.
Well, it was crazy too, because I talked to Will, who, Will White was the point of contact for that project. And I was telling him I was coming. Mark Hickey was in town and was like, hey, let me show up with you guys. I'm like, absolutely. Mark's always welcome. And I was just talking to Will on the phone. I said, hey, our VP of safety's coming, Mark. And he was like, Mark who? And I said it, and he was like, I was like, how did you know? And he was like, I used to work at MaxGen. Oh. So, and then Will has a really common name. There's a lot of people who have his name. So it was kind of like, oh, wow, this is crazy, because me and Will worked at MaxGen at the same exact time on separate coasts. So it's kind of new introductions that sometimes spark reintroduction.
Serendipity. This industry is so small. I love hearing about stuff like that. I love like, for example, my boss was old NovaSource, and in my interview he's like, is Nick Park your dad? And I was like, yep, sure is. And then, like, from then on, like, everyone else in the hierarchy also knows my father, and it's like, oh wow, okay, cool. Man, everyone knows each other. Like, everybody knows each other. And then so this guy Will, he's talking about, my mentor in this industry is his name's Nate Tatum, and he was a NovaSource guy, and then worked with me at Renewable, worked with me when we went to BHE, and then now he's back at Renewable. Like, he's running like 6 sites in the state of California, and like every one of our contractors and OEMs on site all know him. And so as we're having these conversations, oh yeah, where'd you come from? Oh, I know somebody there. His name's Nate. Oh, I know Nate. He actually taught me this. And it's just, this industry is so small and so connected. And I love it. It's so cool. That is easily one of my favorite parts, is that like everywhere you go, you know somebody, or you know somebody that knows somebody, and you can't escape it.
No. Who was on? Nikki was calling it incestuous. Even though it's coast to coast and around the world, there's a lot of people we all know. But I want to just give a compliment and shout out to your dad, Nick. It's that well if you put in the effort, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's as good as the effort that you put in. So Nick took the time to send the text, to get the connection. What does it take, 60 seconds? But not everybody does that.
That was 1 or 2. There was another guy he hooked me up with either the day before or right around that same time for another job for where he's working at now.
Unbelievable.
So it was, he sent 2. And it's one of those things. You build a relationship. He said it best. Me and Wyatt talked about it a couple of times on the phone. Who can you call at 2 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Eve to take care of your project, right? And I think that's what it comes down to. It comes down to connecting the dots with the people, right? We talked about this on the show with Nick, where there's so many people that we work with from a remote stance that we don't get to meet sometimes, mm-hmm. right? And sometimes plugging that face, like making the personal connection and understanding. Now it's like, hey, when a problem comes up, no matter who you're talking to, having the right person in the right place could be the difference on whether or not you win a job from a company that you may not have got introduced to, or maybe would have got introduced to later, or not, right? So, and then it builds the whole community. It's not just, okay, hey, us as a contractor does great by being introduced by a client or a potential client, but it's also like that solidifies Nick's reputation, or whoever's in Nick's position, to say, hey, we were in a problem, we needed a solution, Nick found us a solution, like always, or whoever it is found us a solution, and that's when it just comes back full circle. It's like, it's not always about knowing how to fix it. Sometimes it's about knowing who to call when it gets beyond your scope level.
Well, and I was watching back our episode last night, and the thing that I think it was at the end, you guys talked about legacy, and where in 25 years, where would you like to be? What would you like to see happen, and so forth. And my dad was talking about when he's gone, and he's like, when I'm gone, I would like, for all my boys to be in a good place and to have spoiled my grandkids and to be having a good time. But I would also like everyone who knew me to be able to say, I told the truth, and I was upfront with you, and I always did my best to help the guy next to me. And man, those words, like, I understand he's my dad, and like I got to grow up with that, but like professionally, I mean, that mindset seems like it doesn't exist a lot anymore, at least with my generation. And so I think it's, the onus is on us. I mean, Steve's only a couple of years older than me. Mm-hmm. The onus is on us to continue that kind of relationship building and dedication to the craft, to keep us all networked and keep us together, so that, it's not, I've got one contractor I can reach out to for a problem. I've got, 9 contractors that all do this work in this area. And like, if one's busy, it doesn't just get left on red, waiting while the equipment's down, while you're losing money on your PPAs. You have the ability to reach out to all these different people because you're so well networked, and you've got everybody already onboarded. You've got your vendors ready, and you can just, hey, you're in. I need this. And it's, who can you call? And pretty quickly, talking to Steven after texting a couple times, and then we were on the phone. We've been on the phone like every other day, every 3 days for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
Like, hey dude, he's a solid tech, and he's a solid dude to bullshit with. And like, as technicians, there's a, tech speak versus like manager speak.
Yep.
And it's nice to have a group of guys you can get on the phone with and just like throw back and forth and talk about the field and talk and use your slang and not feel like you're talking to a room of people you need to explain yourself.
Speak the same language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Steven definitely speaks that language. And so he's real easy to talk to. I mean,
Well, just going back to your dad for a minute, because he, those things that he does and he says, and if it's missing from your generation, it's simple to solve. It's amount of effort that you put in. You got to put in the effort to your relationships, right?
Build it.
You got to build it, and it takes extra time. I mean, this thing's going to come out on a Tuesday, a tune-in Tuesday, which we stole from your dad because it sounds cool. But this is Sunday afternoon, right? And we're given our extra time to continue to network together and tell stories and get to know more about each other, and then share that with the rest of the world, which can be a little vulnerable. But you guys are here, you're putting in the effort. We just need more to do it. And then I'm just going to touch on the connection a little bit, because it's near and dear to mine and Jacob's heart for the What's Up Renewables podcast. The vision wasn't just a podcast. It was a whole lot of passion behind knowledge sharing, and which was in my personal passion, and Jacob's about building a community, right? Yeah, it's a digital community, it's a physical community, but it's real people getting connected in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a text message or a podcast or an email or, let's travel and get together, but build a community that is supporting each other, networking, and knowledge sharing, right? So we're just a touch over 1 year old, and we just love hearing that some of that is actually helping people in our first year. So shameless plug for the podcast, but
cue an ad for Altair.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms. Oh man, it's really nice to see, all the efforts of our work starting to help other people.
Well, it's crazy too, because like he said about his dad, right? My dad, probably the hardest working dude I know, right? He's like over 60, still drives. He's a truck driver.
Oh man.
And he, a lot of what I have came from him. My dad was the kind of guy that hired nobody for nothing, figured out everything on his own. And his mentality was similar to Nick's, right? It's like, you show up, you do the best job you can do, you do honest work, right? And always lead by integrity, right? And I mean, I can't say it enough. I know for you, it's probably the same. There's a lot of us out here to do things every day that nobody gets to see except the client, right? And it's like, it's not about the clout. It's about, hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put my name on this. I'm going to do the best job that I can to help the client, right? Subsequently, it's going to help their client, because a lot of times we're in the middle dealing with an O&M provider for a client, right? And it's like, we have to get to that point where a lot of that starts at home, I feel like. Like for Wyatt, it obviously started at home. For me, it started at home. But now what we have to do is, and this is why I like to operate at a family level instead of like a corporate number level, is because sometimes you have to put some of that family into the business, because that's the only way that you train it, Like we just came off of a very long week in Utah not too long ago, and Caleb was with me. All the guys were there. And we put in some serious days. And even Caleb pulled me to the side and he was like, I'm young. I didn't in a million years think that with you being 36, I'd be struggling to keep up with you still.
Way to go.
And so, but they appreciate that, because it's not, hey guys, go take care of this. I'll see you when you get home. Right. And that's why I've said it before. I still say it. I would never ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Love
you
it.
know, and that's where it starts. So if we can start to build that back into the technicians, and we can teach that kind of, hey, put your best foot forward, right? Do right by people, because it comes back full circle, and it comes back a lot worse if you do wrong by people. So, you know, sometimes you're going to win some, sometimes you're going to lose some, but if you do the best job that you can, a lot of times that will follow your name no matter where you go.
I always called it investing in people, right? Because you're giving your personal time. You're giving a piece of your life to these other humans.
100%.
And yeah, sometimes they're going to hurt you. Sometimes they're going to not listen to you or think you're not right, silly, don't know what you're talking about.
Think they know more than you.
Yeah, sometimes they're going to maybe take advantage of what you know. I would say let 100 of them take advantage of you before you miss out on the one that needed it.
Yeah.
So just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
That's
It didn't really hurt.
That's why, like, something as simple as Lockout, Tagout is my favorite thing to teach.
Okay.
Personally, I think the first thing you teach, whether it be labor or a technician, anyone who's going to be working anywhere near equipment that is going to be de-energized for work, you teach LOTO. Even if they're not going to be an authorized employee that's like authorized to place or to work on LOTO, even if they're, you know, just going to be in the area where you've got a team performing LOTO and then working under it. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing to teach is LOTO, because it is the first like wake up call for anyone in solar. Anyone who drives by a field full of mirrors and is like, oh, wow. Because that's what I constantly get is oh, you mean you work out there in that field of mirrors out there? Like, yeah, I work in the field of mirrors. That sounds like a Stephen King novel. But look, even those people that think it's not dangerous because it's on people's houses, you know, they just this, you know, this disconnect between, you know, the fact that it's actually still electricity and it's still pulling a lot of amperage and it could still kill you, you know. That all gets washed away the first time you walk into a solar field and throw an amp clamp on a solar panel that's producing next to an inverter running, and they're like, hey, that's 13 amps. That's 13 amps on 1,500 volts. You know how much it takes to kill you? The amperage at 50 volts. So think about that, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, think about that, just like how much potential you are working around at all times on the thing that you worry about the least. You know, the panels and the strings and the harnesses, those are the things that people brush off as like, oh, that's labor work. That's those guys. We do inverters, or we do MVTs, or, you know what I mean? You get the DC guys, you know, oh, that's for them. Hey, that's one of the most dangerous things out here. And the DC arc flash rating is way higher than the AC arc flash rating for a reason, because it is that much more dangerous. And so Lockout, Tagout is awesome to teach from the DC field all the way through the inverter, all the way through the MVT, shit, all the way through the substation, because you get to show people like, hey, if you don't do this correctly, you know, every little piece of procedure, as tedious as it may seem, if you don't do this correctly, someone will or may die. And I mean, a couple of years ago, there was one out there in Lemoore. They were building a different plant. They just, you know, kid was not instructed properly on how to perform his task, and he broke an MC4 across his chest while it had current.
Oh,
killed him. I remember that.
And And I don't talk about that to like bring the mood down, but like that is why I enjoy teaching LOTO. You know, it is one of those things that like there is a tangible benefit to, and like on the back end, none of us want to hear about these accidents. You know, it's not like when you're, you know, scrolling through Facebook and there's like, oh man, look at this building burning down. No, it's like, dude, that was someone's father, brother, mother, you know, sister. Like that person's got a family that's finding out that they're not coming home today.
Well, don't stop teaching LOTO.
Well, that's
don't stop teaching.
He made a good point too. Like I tell guys all the time, right? It's like, even if you're only working on the DC side, teach it all the way up to the substation, right? Because I've told you before, I tell my guys, look, don't even take my word for it, right? I want you self-verify, Don't be like, all right, Steve said it's good, let's go, right? Like, no, verify for yourself, get in the habit of verifying for yourself, because one day you're going to put that trust into somebody because you become complacent, and that's going to be the day you get hurt. But also understanding the hazards from the DC side all the way up to the substation, because there are circumstances that you could put yourself in that could cause you to get hurt. So like generally when we teach it, even to guys that are new to industry or guys that we hire as an apprentice, I even send them, in fact, I just met with San Juan and we're going to start sending them to Rise anyway for the new to industry class, because
Good.
They need to understand not just what we're there to do. And trust me, I mean, we go through a lot of training. We go through AVO. We have very specific training that we deal with on the MVHV side, but you also need to understand the opposite side of that circuit too, because you don't know when you're going to have a situation where, one, I do favors sometimes for people. We like to stay in the MVHV space, but if they need me to do something on the DC side or they need to deal with a collector system or something like that, we jump in and do it. I did it for Will. But we also need to understand that there could be an emergency, right? We could be on site and there could be an emergency and there could be no other personnel there to tend to the emergency, and we may need to step in. So it's important not only to understand the theory behind LOTO, right, but also understand it from the DC panels throughout the inverters all the way up to the AC switchgear, even onto the Gentie. That way, when you need to react, you have the knowledge and the tools that you need to be successful in that case, because you never know what's going to happen when you're out there.
That's right. I love that you're doing the overtraining too, right?
Yeah.
Outside of the business model a little bit, but you're near it, and yeah, you can help out some more.
Yep.
Oh, brilliant. So, where was I at? Okay, So tell me, how has meeting Steve helped you in your new role? 1 month in, Tech 3. And you met Steve. How did this help you?
So it's helped me, like, in my personal understanding of like how MVTs work, and just talking to Steve. Like, I feel like I've learned, like, just on a base level, like, you know, what I'm touching, what I'm dealing with, like, you know, what is out there in the field. But in like a business, like, professional role, you know, we've got, you know, different RFPs out right now, and now Steven's in the, you know, in the running to bid for those, which is what I was talking about earlier, is like the, you know, broadening of the horizons business wise, that you don't get stuck in, you know, hey, this thing blew up, call this guy. They're busy. Okay, well, I guess it's going to stay offline. Yeah, no. Yeah, and that happens, you know.
Sure.
And so, I mean, you know, professionally, it's been cool, but the big thing for me is, like, personally, it's been nice to have like an older brother figure almost to reach out to, and to, you know, talk through, you know, different issues on site. Maybe I'm tired, or maybe I'm, you know, I've got a newborn at home, you know, maybe I'm having a rough day, and to have someone to reach out to that understands like, very recently what I'm going through. The newborn thing, ooh, they should do RISE training for newborn dads, because, like, my wife would be very happy if I was just like a more competent father.
You guys haven't been through training to be parents?
Dude, no.
You haven't read all the books?
No.
You got what certs you got?
I read like 3 books, and I did not pass the certification test. Like,
but they still let you become a parent.
yeah, I don't know how that
It's
happens.
crazy.
That's crazy, dude. They really should make you pass some sort of test. Like, there should be like an FPA 70 baby where
70
you have to like pass a certain number. Like, okay, here's a fun one, and this we'll do this at my expense because I'm an idiot. I didn't realize that you had to change diapers for pee. I thought they're just made to soak that up. He should just be all right. And so
It's absorbent, makes sense.
Exactly. So I was thinking,
It's like a spill kit.
That's right.
You know?
that's what I was thinking. They're full of
Containment's
desiccants. Like,
in
that's
place.
what they're for. Turns out, not true. Turns out, if you only change his diaper when he shits, he will get like a yeast infection, and you're a bad parent.
Yep. Yeah, that's
I know that now. Not that he has a yeast infection,
no.
but
I love that.
yeah, one day I didn't change his diaper, and I'm feeding him, and my wife was like, the diaper's got like this blue line on it that delineates that he's peed, and she's like, His diaper's full. Why didn't you change it?
Diapers have indicators?
I
do.
I know.
I do now.
It's like a fuse, dude. When it blows,
Yeah.
it tells you.
This was the indicator in my day.
Yeah.
Well, dude, if we were going by my nose, it would be even worse than not having an indicator.
You pick it up, turn it around, smell it. All right.
I just look at the weight, see if it's ready.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm
That's
starting
true.
to do that now.
That's
But
true.
so like,
Did
when I
we
was,
hit max load on suspension yet? How's that?
oh, and so look, my son is huge.
Oh my god.
All right, so
You must have a story.
my son, all right, Jameson Robert Park.
Nice name.
Oh,
Love it.
Okay, my dad's got this awesome. I'm just gonna tell this real quick. My dad's got this awesome name, Nicholas. He's got all these other names he could be, Nick, Nicky. You know, like there's. It's cool. My name's Wyatt. There's
a
no
cool name.
shortening it. Yeah, okay, Wyatt Earp was cool, but there's no like shortening my name. There's no fun pet names. There's no cool nicknames. I'm either Y Man or YY. And like neither of those strike fear into my enemies. So like I wanted to name my kids something that they could, have like multiple different names, like with Jameson, James, Jamie. His middle name's Robert. Jr. We call him Junior. You call him Bobby. Call him Rob. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things you could do there. And so like one of the things early on talking with my wife about having kids, I was like, hey, I'm okay if you want to name them certain things, but we are not naming our kids like Brixton.
Okay.
We're not going we're not adding X's where they don't need to be, and we're not adding the EIGH where it doesn't need to be. Like I want to name my kids something cool, even if it rhymes with like Lamison, which is the only thing I could think of that he might get made fun of with. I really like worked hard to pick a name that like.
Wow.
Because my name rhymes with diet and be quiet, and I grew up fat and talk a lot. So, like, you can imagine Wyatt can't be quiet because he's on a diet and can't deny it. Got real old. Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. You've got a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, Quiet Wyatt was something I was yelled at from teachers. So, like, I really put some work into, like, hey, he's got to have a cool name that can be shortened and that can be changed so he can go by whatever he wants to go by. But his full name is going to be like a man's name.
All right. That's a good name.
And so like
You've thought that's the most thought I've ever heard from any guy. To be honest, that's impressive.
well, that's pretty much where all my thinking went, which is why when it came time to change my
Impressive.
first diaper, I did it wrong. So
Makes
I was still
sense.
stuck on his name. No, so he was born 9 pounds 3 ounces.
He's going to outgrow the diaper. He can't outgrow the name.
Oh, exactly.
So it's all right. Makes sense.
Big baby. We make big babies in my family. That's a thing. When he was born, we had a C-section, and the doctor pulls him up and he goes, "Oh, look at that head!" It was so large on the ultrasound they couldn't measure it. Like it was bigger than the actual like measurement machine on the ultrasound. They were like, "That is a large head. We could tell you he's going to be 7 pounds, but we can't tell you what your final weight is because we can't see his head." It was just massive, and it's still massive. It's awesome.
All right. But he's healthy.
He's healthy. So my wife one day, she's like, "Why didn't you change him?" And I'm like, "Babe, look, there's no poop." And I like open his diaper, and she's like, "This blue line means there's pee in it." And I was like, "I know there's pee in it." And she's like, she looks at me like, "You moron." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You have to change them for pee too." "Oh, really? Yeah, I knew that." "Oh, my bad." Like, yeah, totally caught me off guard. I did not know that was a thing.
All right. Good one. You got a fun dad lesson surprise story to join in here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No,
Let's see,
I don't think
something-
I didn't get to pick the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the boss of the show.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, I don't.
That is the
I get no say.
This is the one place we get to use the term boss, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so the myth of the boss is that it's a myth
But-
at work.
Yeah. No, at home we're clear it's not a myth. Yeah.
Oh, it's not. It's definitely not a myth.
All right. I didn't pick that. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I got to weigh in.
Colton's an awesome name
It's
too.
an awesome name.
Nickname Colt.
That does happen, right? Yeah. Boy, I'm trying to think about some lessons learned about parenting. I always tell people just try to survive it because it takes everything out of you. Okay, I don't have one.
So how did you guys address? So you're both careers in power, and I'm assuming that while you were working, Adam, like in the field and actually like before you were the big boss or the big manager, like when you were like in the field managing teams and actually working with your hands. And you, Steve, you've talked about your career and you've talked about it on the show. When you guys were at the point sort of like where I'm at, where I go to work every morning at 4 a.m. and I don't get home till 5 or 6 at night with a newborn, my wife is a teacher, so she's home. She's home for like 6 months while she recovers and takes care of the kid and so forth. But like, how did you balance your career with your personal life at home? And like, how did you sort of maintain a good balance of like being a good husband and a father while also being a good technician or a manager? Like where...
You don't.
Okay.
You don't.
Which one did you pick?
That is the shortest, correct.
I chose my career. And so my oldest took the hit for the most part because she was the first one. My oldest daughter, she got a birthday tomorrow. So she'll be 15 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Right.
Happy quinceañera.
Happy birthday. But her and my son, who is just a few years younger than her, probably took the brunt of it when I was running around. It's something that never settles well with you. It aged worse than it was when I was doing it, if that makes sense, right? I tell people that all the time. It's like, if I could go back, I would have probably changed things a little bit because I was the guy that was like, when it happens, I'm there no matter what. And I always looked at it like, well, we got tomorrow, we got next weekend, we got next Christmas, we got all these things. But the truth is, you always say you have next, and then one day you lose all those chances at next. It just disappears, right? Yeah. This go around, I find myself trying to correct those things because I'm older and I know that there's not next, like it's now, right? Like this is now. There's not going to be another chance at this. It stinks still today, right? I mean, I still put as much work in the field as I do behind the computer, like I've told you before. Our youngest, Ireland, is my world, right? Like, I mean, she's such a sweet child, and I feel bad because I leave so much sometimes. And it's not as bad as it was, right? Like when I was young, I would leave and I would go city to city to city to city. And sometimes I wouldn't get a break for months, right? Yeah. Now she sees me a lot, but when she does see me, it's like, bye, like immediately, right? Like, so sometimes I have to just give her the extra love and be like, hey, Daddy's not leaving today. I'm still here. I even find myself putting my work in a worse situation where I'm like sitting in the bed until 2 o'clock in the morning, finishing work, because if I walk in the door and it's like 5 o'clock and she's awake, no matter how bad I need to get to the next thing, I just close the computer, spend a little bit of time with her. You know, she loves Hercules, the Disney movie. She loves Nightmare Before Christmas. And even sometimes I just sit her there and she just sits there with me while I work. So the answer in short is you can't balance that, right? But what balanced it for me forever was I'm going to do everything I can do to give you the best life that I can give you. And unfortunately, that means I can't be here every day. Yeah. And I can't be here all the time. It hurts as a man, like from a mental perspective. Like a lot of people don't really care about men's mental health, or it doesn't get discussed a lot, right? A lot of times it falls on a female.
Suck it up, rub some dirt on it.
Right, exactly. But it's the sacrifice that we make to make sure that they're okay. And what I tell myself is when I'm not there, it's Lauren's job to give her the emotional piece, the comfort, the nurturing piece of being a mother, right? I wish I could give her more of it, but right now we're in the growing pains. We're less than a year old, or we're technically a little bit older than a year, but operationally we didn't step into operations officially until April. So it is tough, right? But you'll never be able to balance that, and that's the other thing I tell people. Where it's not like you can't make everybody happy. And unfortunately, everybody includes yourself, right? And a lot of times, even though they don't realize it, we're the ones that suffer the most. We're the ones that go with the unhappiness, because when I'm out there and we're like 18 hours in, 20 hours in, I've gotten to a point where there's no time left. I'm not calculating time. Task-based.
Yeah.
You remember me and you talked about that. There is a point where I actually said this to Will that night that we were there because all the issues we had. I said, dude, I get to a point where the time, the food, the breaks, the sun, it doesn't matter anymore. Like we're here until this is done, and that's what I base this off of. So you can never prepare, you can never do that work-life balance to a part where you're going to keep everyone happy. You're never going to keep the wife happy and the child happy and yourself happy while still keeping the client happy too, right? So we often say that a lot of times. I have a saying where it's like, okay, we can do things fast, we can do things cheap, or we can do things right. Pick two, because you can't get all three, right? And it's the same thing with the work-life balance. It's like you will never be able to balance that to an optimum level. You just got to do the best you can, and when you can't be there when you want to be, or sometimes even when you need to be, when you roll back in the door, you got to make the most of that circumstance immediately. And sometimes that means, again, we're putting ourselves off for a long night. I do it all the time where it's like, hey, all right, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I roll in. I know she's awake until at least 8. Okay, I'm going to spend some time with the baby and work till 2 o'clock in the morning tonight, because if not, I'll keep saying it'll happen tomorrow. Excuse me, tomorrow never comes.
Well, man, it is lonely being a husband and dad sometimes. I can relate to it. I've been working on some mental health concepts that maybe we can play into our industry, but I don't disagree with anything you said. I didn't have the exact same mindset and approach, though. Took a little bit differently. Steph and I got together and we had a dream and a goal of building a family. Mm-hmm. So that was the goal. We had a team, and then we started attacking it. We couldn't both play the same role. We had to have different roles and responsibilities. Colton doesn't remember, but I missed his first and second birthdays. I pretty much didn't see him till he was 3. And we were married and we had the house, right? But I was not around very much. I missed a lot of holidays, and I still do. But my wife was there, and my wife had built traditions for us for all these holidays that reoccur over and over. And whether I was there or not, our family was getting that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I was doing my job. I was playing my role, right? To participate into building a career, to earn money, to help this family.
Put food on the table.
Yeah, put food on the table. So I may not have been there for that, but my wife was, and my children were. And then I was for the ones that I didn't miss all of them. So I wouldn't say that I missed out. I would say that I was part of an awesome team, and I played my role. I did my job. My wife did her job, and my children ended up doing theirs. So, yeah, it's sad that you don't get to be a part of all those, but I'm very proud that I was a part of them in the role that I played.
Because you made it happen.
It's like the American dream.
I made a piece of it happen.
Yeah.
You still need a mom, right? And you still need all of her effort for all the school and the activities and the holidays and the traditions and all that stuff, right? So you need a team, and you got to stay committed to that, and it's not easy.
Yeah, if you put the American dream into 6 pieces, one piece of it's your car and your family and your house and your job and what you're doing. The underlayer's always got to be one person who is working to provide it all. And that's kind of how I was raised, where my dad, we talked about it, he was shoveling coal or operating a plant shift work, and we would only see him in the morning for an hour before school because he had to go lay down and go to bed because he had to be up that night for work.
Yeah.
When he was at Topaz, for the most part, he had his trailer parked out there, like our camping trailer, and he would we'd see him on Monday and he'd go out there for the week, and then we'd see him over the weekend because it's so much closer and that drive was so long. It's just easier to be there, and they had so many different problems cropping up. He had to just be closer. And so I've seen that from a young age and grown up with that. And I think that's part of why, even before realizing I was going to be a blue collar guy, in my personal search for a woman, I was looking for a strong woman like my mother was.
Yeah.
You know, a woman that could do the things that I knew I wasn't going to be there to do. You know, when you talk about Stephanie being like this, you know, she is parents while you're gone. I think I definitely landed far beyond my means with my wife. Hope gave me hope for a family, because like she changed my life in ways that like I'll never be able to articulate correctly. But
There
like,
you go.
I do think that I'm okay on that respect. Man, why do we always get sappy talking about shit?
You brought this shit up, man.
I know, but I needed.
No more
needed
scotch
to,
for you. I don't know what happened.
I needed to talk about it with somebody
No.
that understands.
Oh man, and you're telling the world too, so it's extremely vulnerable. But you're not wrong. We do need to talk about those things.
I appreciate you talking about the mental health thing, because like, you know, the other thing that I feel bad about, not just not being there for my son, but not being there for my wife. And like all of the extra things that she now has to do that, you know, we talked about in theory being a thing, but she didn't necessarily sign up for.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like you guys set out and you had a plan. My wife and I were like, oh yeah, someday when we get to that point. But we've gotten to that point, and I'm at work more than I'm not. And so, you know, I feel like personal guilt for the time that I don't get to help her, because we're both learning how to be parents. It's our first kid.
Yeah.
And I've got this like personal guilt that like I am, you know, leaving her out to dry in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Wyatt, wait a minute. We had a plan. You know what the plan was? Build a family no matter what it takes.
Yeah, that's the plan.
We didn't know what it was going to take. We didn't know if I could build a career. We pretty much thought I was dumb anyway. Like, we don't know until you know, when you're young, you're just dumb. You're just trying to work, right? You're trying to get a job and earn money. You heard Colton on here. He thought his dad lived on an airplane until he was like
so
10.
awesome.
Because they dropped me off at the airport, they picked me up from the airport.
I joke with Lauren all the time, because like when the calls come in, and like, I mean, you know, Adam, we do a 24/7 service, right? And sometimes if the guys are busy or out of state or they're on another job, I take that myself, you know. And I actually say to Lauren sometimes, she's like, but babe, we need you. I said, no, she needs you. They need me more than you do right now, because that need is what pays our bills. You know what I mean? And it's tough and it's hard. And it's like Adam said, it's not really, this is my fourth kid, okay? Nothing that I have planned for 1, 2, 3, and now 4 has been the way that it was supposed to be, okay? And what Adam said is so important, because it's like, we made a plan to give this being the best raising so that we can create a decent human being to contribute to society at all costs, right? So, yeah. And sometimes her sacrifice is greater than mine. Sometimes my sacrifice is greater than hers. Sometimes we're equally getting shit on together, right? And we just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But the most important part is having somebody that understands. It's not really about gender roles, but it's like Adam said, it's about, okay, what is your job on this team? And sometimes it's not just your job. Sometimes it's, okay, I have to make up some of your job. Sometimes you have to make up some of my job. Sometimes we're operating completely independently for what's best for this family. But, you know, having that person that's willing, like I tell people all the time, it's never 50-50. I like to say it's 100-100.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm going to do everything that you need in the time that you can't give your 100%.
And when you're at 10, I'll be 90.
Right.
When you're 40,
exactly.
I'll be 60.
Yeah. And it's a give and take. It's not always, if it's always, okay, she's giving 90 and I'm giving 10, and there's a problem, right? But for the most part, it is. It's a matter of, hey, I need you to have 100 every day when you show up, because there's going to be days that I'm going to show up that I can't give it. Right.
Let's. I'll make one more comment on that, and then we're gonna parlay that into the boss myth and stop getting all choked up. And we work on some. We'll work on some mental health kind of specials. We've been brainstorming that, but it's 100-100, right? And it's if you just normalize it into work. You and I are working on a crew. We each have to give 100%. We're just getting paid to go give an hour. You're gonna get paid an hour. You gotta give 100%.
Yeah.
If he's all messed up for some reason, maybe he's sad about family, or maybe he's just hungover,
right?
And he's giving 50%, I got to give 150
Yeah.
to compensate. So you don't ever get to give less than 100. Sometimes you got to give more.
Sometimes.
That's it. What's Up Renewables is growing, and we're looking for new sponsors to join us. Our show connects leaders, innovators, and field professionals across the renewable industry, and our sponsors are part of that conversation. Some have seen their network expand instantly. Others have grown revenue and brand visibility through the connections they've made right here. If you want your company to reach the people driving the future of clean energy, now's the time to get involved. Contact us at media@whatsuprenewables.com to become a sponsor today. All right. The myth of the boss. The thing is, what job title has the word boss in it? None.
No.
And everybody's just trying to do their best job at whatever their job title is, their role and responsibility, right?
Yeah.
And then as you grow your career and you become a manager of other people or a director or an executive or whatever it is, you are now working for everybody that reports to you on that
100%.
silly org chart, but you quite literally have to answer to them. You have to serve them. So you become the bottom of this pile to continue to serve them so that they are successful, that their careers grow, so that they don't get hurt, all of those things.
Well,
That's why the boss is just, I think it works in Italian mafias. Outside of that, I don't know. Right? Wasn't that the thing, the boss?
Well, and I don't think that our industry's nomenclature for technicians does anything to help it. You know, I understand you have to have a label somewhere in your skill set, but Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, Tech 4, maintenance manager, labeling guys and like definitively labeling guys is like, hey, this guy's Tech 1. That means he sucks. He is just a Tech 1. All right. I'm a Tech 2. Like that is a thing that I see in our industry. And like that delineation doesn't help with this like pyramid of the boss where you've got this figurehead on top that's like passing down orders, shitting downhill.
Well, I hope they start watching the podcast and how we talk about careers and career talks, because you should never shit on somebody else.
Yeah.
No matter where they're at in life, right? Yeah. That's just being a bad human. And if those people are doing that and you give them a good solid talk about being a good person, you talk about all the things you just did about integrity and do the right thing, and they still don't get it, then sever them and move on, because they're not going to be very comfortable in this organization, right?
Yeah.
And they need to go find a place where they will be comfortable.
Well, and it ends up bringing down the morale for the entire team too. If we're gonna,
another great reason to probably separate yourself.
If we're gonna build a team that's like, hey, this boss thing is not a thing.
Yeah.
We're just all doing our jobs. And you've got one person who's just contentious or rude to their coworkers.
Sure.
Then yeah, they make the team hard.
It's a team, dude. Job titles don't make you dependable.
No, they don't.
Okay. No, seriously, like mentality is what makes you dependable, right? And like I have had the pleasure of working with Caleb for a long time. He worked for me at Pierce. He works for me now.
Yeah.
And
dude's awesome.
He is shout out to Caleb.
Yeah, hey, you should have him on.
He's in Utah right now. He's in Utah as we speak.
Real born and bred, like started at the bottom. Now we hear technician.
Yeah. Cool.
He's awesome.
He was a vegetation guy that worked his way. Now he's an MV guy.
I worked veg with him at Pierce 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's working he's like Steve's main guy.
You met his brother at the gym.
What's his brother's name?
RJ. He worked for me too.
Oh, he saw me.
Yeah. RJ
it was a quick high.
Yeah. But I mean, Caleb is one of my most dependable guys, right? We had some unfortunate scheduling issues last week in Utah. We had a plan to get done a bunch of work that, they had a storm roll through there, and it was flood advisories, and, you can't open up transformer tanks when you got rain in the area. So I called him and I was like, hey, how do you feel about staying in Utah instead of coming home? He's like, whatever you need, right? He's like, as long as the per diem's there, we got a place to stay, we'll hang it out. I'm telling him, hey, hop on HSI, get done some training that you got to get done, whatever. We'll get a change order for the standby time. But dependability, like me, it's like you said it. Those guys don't work for me. I work for them, right? Like, so I'm out here every day. I do my part to chase down the work, get it bidded, get the things in place that we need to succeed, SOPs, safety documentation, all the formation stuff that you and I love. But, it's also like, I don't like the term boss. I like the term leader, because there's multiple leaders, right? Like, you can have guys that, depending on what you're working on, what their skill level is, they're leading different aspects of the job, right? Like we did Solar Star, and, me and Pierce worked in conjunction on that project, and I was a very important leader on that project, of many leaders. It wasn't just me, right? There was, you guys had a leader out there, right? I had a leader out there. Pierce had several leaders out there. And sometimes all those leaders need to sit at the table and collaborate for success. So to me, there's no one boss until I get home. But
fair.
There's no one boss when it comes to the work. It's what it is it's like, guys, we're all going to play our part to get this done.
Yeah.
And, there's no one that's above anyone, right? It's like everyone's just got to put their piece in if we're going to be successful. And over time, people adapt to that. People learn, people grow. And I do expect them to take on a little bit more of that leadership. And I do eventually expect them to take some of that from me. But that's another reason why I go out so much, is because I want them to lead the way I lead. And the best way to teach that is to show them that you will.
Showing them is. Will you pass over that blue stack of cards right there?
Will you pass over that scotch over there?
No, sir. But I'll pour you some more.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because you bet. Did you want some more? I can't tell how much I'm pouring sometimes.
I think you were a little light on this one.
10-4. I am. Yeah. 100%. This was on me. This mistake with the pouring. All right. But you talk about boss. You talk about leader, manager. I don't care what it is. I love these. We got these Erica Miglacho. Did I do it right? You got to do the hand. I'm trying to give her justice. How she taught me. But she has a company called Upstream HR Strategies. Thank you. And she sent us these things. She has an app called Greetings of Gratitude or something like that. She sent us these cards, and I'm in love with them because, take a look at a few of those, right? It doesn't even matter. But these are the kinds of feedback that you need to give folks that are reporting to you, right? And not just the basic, you're awesome, you're a rock star, and if I say it the way Erica did, I appreciate you, because you dropped the A, just appreciate you. But, you're a great system thinker, always considering impact and decision on others. How thoughtful are some of these, right? And she does this and prints them out for knuckleheads like us to be able to remember how to talk to people.
Right there.
I love that you're great at the things I'm not. Together, we're a perfect team. Holy smokes, right? This is the kind of stuff.
I like this one.
Which one did you like? Your clear and caring feedback helps me grow and develop. I'm better because of your leadership. Holy smokes. It's thoughtful.
We didn't go through that stack before we had this conversation.
No, we didn't.
And we both just found one of these in that stack that perfectly encapsulates our thoughts on the myth of the boss, mythos at work.
So I want to bring this up because literally just before I got here, I was on the phone with Caleb on the way over here, and we were talking about truck outfitting, being prepared for the jobs, having the tools that we need. And he was like, so I get feedback from them on top of the feedback that I know because, I'm the expert in a lot of this stuff. And that's one thing that he was saying that he loved about working for me was that I never feel like I have to fight for the tools that I need to be successful because you provide them, right? And for me, it's like most companies look at tools, truck outfitting, equipment, whatever it is, right, as a cost. And it is. I mean, you and I know more than anybody that it is. But where I think about things is how many hours did being set up properly shave off the job? And how many hours is that going to shave off of every single job after that, right? So sometimes investment, while it's not ideal to maybe the budget or the business plan or what we're used to dealing with, sometimes it's necessary, because sometimes the benefit of the expense is far greater than the burden, you know? And that's why I picked this card, because this is one of the things that me and him were talking about, was like, and that's why I tell him, I said, I love that he calls me and he doesn't have to feel like if I say this to Steve and say we need this, he's just going to shoot me down, right? And it's like having that open line of communication where they feel like they can talk to me, no matter if it's good news or bad news, or if it's profit or expense, to let me know what they feel like we need. And in turn, that helps me become better, because they're identifying problems. They're having the hard, I mean, me and you talked about this on the first episode, right? The leader is not the guy who tells you what you want to hear. The leader is the guy that makes the hard decision, right? And sometimes, no matter if you're dealing with the client, your employees, your wife, okay?
She's always right, by the way. Babe, if you're watching this, I always agree with you.
That's good for him. I don't share that notion, but
I cannot tell a lie.
But sometimes you need that, right? And when you have people that provide that to you, it helps us grow. And again, we work for them, right?
Yeah.
So this card hits home. I like this concept a lot, because
It's great, right?
Can I keep this?
You bet. Grab the green one. I can't remember the difference between the blue and the green and the concepts. These are little thank yous. So you can put a little greeting and put your to and from, and then you have on the back, your optimism inspires me and others.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then your clear and passionate vision inspires. These are just amazing little feedback. Your clear and caring feedback. So you want to talk about shaving hours and improving safety, quality, efficiency, right? From LOTO to customer service to shaving hours, investing in your people and truly caring about them, and taking the time to get to know them.
Yep.
And then giving the great feedback and leveraging people that are much more smarter than us on how to treat others. And she has an app. I want to find this thing and tell you guys, because there's a whole free thing here. It is actually Greetings of Gratitude. There you go. That's what the app looks like.
Okay.
Download that sucker.
Yep.
And there's a free and a paid version of it. But you can just grab things and text them to people, or steal the little thing and make it your own. But invest in the people. And I should say, she has a paid thing that you can take care of other people for. It's pretty cool. It's not much money.
Traditionally, at when we were MaxGen before the Pierce acquisition, we were actually doing something called Bonusly, where we gave each employee a certain amount of points that they had to give out on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And it was kind of like it was almost like a social media aspect, where it was like you had users, you had a feed, and it was like a recognition platform where, like, say if you were working on a job and somebody really went above and beyond, right? You could tag that person in front of the group, give them some points, or essentially points that could turn into like a gift card or different things that you could purchase when you had your points. And it was awesome because, like, we could do it and then people would chime in and then other people would give too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, good job, right? Here's 10 points for being a rock star. You know what I mean? So it kind of encouraged the words of affirmation with a little bit of a like financial reward at the end as well. And it made everyone feel good because they were getting lifted in front of their team, right? They had a little small, they really didn't care about the rewards. The rewards were the perk in essence, right? But it's like creating that positive affirmation to the people who are out there that you're working with and doing a good job, right? And that's important. Like, I can't tell you, if Caleb was here right now, he would tell you almost every conversation that we end on, no matter what the conversation is, I tell him how much I appreciate him, right? And I do that to all the guys. It's like, hey, I appreciate your help. Like, I know this sucks. Like, we're sucking it together, right? Like, it's just terrible, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I appreciate the fact that, like, because it does. It kind of feels like family, like, you know what I mean? It's like, man, this sucks. Like, grandma crazy, but we're going to deal with her as a team. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what the job is like.
It's still like, your grandma. You can't walk away.
Still your grandma. We
got you, grandma. We're sucking it together.
That's it.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's the truth, man. Like, I mean, we have run into so much stuff, and I'll tell you, even me, like, I'm sitting back and I'm looking like, man, we went the job in Utah. I drove there that day, Adam, like 12 hours from Tehachapi. We rolled right into the work shift. We worked all night. We went back out the next day. We had a huge MV problem. I fixed it. And we showed up to a job, and the customer was like, I don't know, man. You've been burning it on both hands pretty hard. You know what I mean? And so we ended up postponing that one. But it's like, you know, they told me, they said, dude, I don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know how you keep forward like that.
I've said it to you already. And you tell me about your schedule, and I'm like, that.
He calls me. No, he calls me sometimes. He called me so the morning I came back from Utah, I left Friday at like noon because I woke up. You probably relate to this. All I want to do is get in the truck and leave, right? Okay. But I got customers that are waiting on quotes. I got customers that are waiting on reports. I have like 6 hours of administrative work that needs to be done before I can even think about spending 12 hours in this vehicle, okay? Yeah. So I didn't get out until like lunchtime. I was coming into town. I was coming through the 58 over by the cement plant at like, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe it was 1 o'clock. He probably knows better than me. And he texts me, and he's like, are you working or are you asleep? So I call him immediately.
There's no two options, by the way. There's no like, are you with family?
Right. No.
Are you out for dinner? Are you working or sleeping? Because that's all he does.
I call him, and I'm like, what's up, dude? And I'm beat, bro. Like, I'm on the drive home. I'm straight smacking myself in the face to stay awake. Right.
Safety meeting in here somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm burning it hard to try to get home, spend time with the family, you know. And I call him, and I'm like, I just got to town pretty much. I'll be home in like 20 minutes. You know, we talked for like an hour at that point, you know, and I just found it hilarious because not like, hey, how you doing? Are you, like, he immediately went to, sleep? Are you working or sleeping? Right? Which I barely do the second. The latter, I almost do never. Like, I do about 4 hours a day. In fact, I told Will that night that we worked that long shift, the crane had to break down. We had like an hour's worth of breakdown on the crane. So I told Will, I said, hey, I'm going to go lay the seat back.
I feel so bad about this one.
I'm like, just let me lay back, right? And I said, if I'm not up in an hour, then wake me up. I told him, right? So
I feel bad about this.
And I got up and I walked out there, and my welder, Justin, was like, dude, you look like you're ready for another 18-hour shift. And I was like, because I barely sleep. So that 1 hour power nap, dude, I got home that day at like 11 a.m. by the time, we got done on site at like 8:30. We were only a couple hours delayed because of the unfortunate circumstances with the terrible installation. That's another conversation. But I got home, and I think I talked to him. I talked to a couple other people. I never went to bed.
Yeah.
Like, because I got to a point where I was supposed to leave there and fly to Utah straight from that site. And I ended up, the job got canceled, so I ended up canceling my flight. And I was standing there looking at Lauren. It's like, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I'm not going to bed till 8. I'm just going to strong arm it.
Like, so overtired that you're awake.
Yeah, I was like so overtired. So I'm like, pull out the computer. I'm working on things that need to be done. And I just pushed through. Because I told her, I said, if I go to bed now, I'm going to sleep for 4 hours. I'll be up at 7, right? Now my whole shit's messed up. Now I'm up all night. I was like, I'm just going to stay focused and just I'll go to bed at 8 o'clock, and then that's the best opportunity I have at a normal sleep schedule tonight. You know, because I don't sleep very long. I sleep, and it's Dad, it's your fault. It's part of my dad's fault. Like I said, my dad's a truck driver. Dude, he's the same way. Like he'll sleep like 4 hours. My grandfather on my mom's side was a crazy truck driver. He actually passed this year. But that dude would wake up, drive to Manhattan, pick up a load, and drive that shit straight to San Diego, San Francisco, wherever. And I mean, he would drive it with no break. Like just straight through, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. So there's a lot of times
26 hours.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of times where I'm out there and I'm just like, hey, and I get that. That's where my travel comes from, is my dad. Like, because my dad's like that. My dad can drive crazy long, you know, but it's the things that we do to make things possible, and it's hard, man.
No,
I felt bad about that call, by the way.
Why were you up in this time?
He talked about that power nap.
Yeah, I mean, my left and right are at 2 a.m. Like, why are you up?
I was doing paperwork, or
Because we care too much. That's the problem.
Either doing paperwork, or like if we've got night outages, depending on who's got permissions to turn off and turn on units. I'm supporting that. But I called him at like 6 a.m. And it was right before they were just about done. He had just like laid down for a power nap. He's gonna go for like an hour. I call him. He says, "Hello," and I was like, "Brother, are you asleep?" And he's like, "I'm actually just waking up from a 1 hour power nap." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna let you go." And he's like, "No, what's going on?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm just bored. I'm driving to work.
Oh.
You know, like, or I'm just bored. I'm sitting here doing paperwork." Oh, all right. And we talked for like 20 minutes.
Dude, it happens.
Just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Steven, but like if you put us in the room and look at the show, how long have we been going? We could just probably talk for like 3 or 4 hours. Like,
dude, the client told me yesterday morning. So yesterday morning I wake up at like 4. So I get in these moods where I'll go to sleep, whatever. Me and Lauren will watch a movie, watch TV, hang out, right? Try to get as much personal time as we can to spend time with each other before the next emergency call comes in, or I got to get back to it. And so I go to bed kind of early. We're watching, she loves Halloween. The house looks great. Said it on the air so she knows. She's decorating the house.
I'd love to see it.
Like crazy.
Is there a Stevenson Errickson Halloween?
So Lauren,
give me a break.
He said I've had a lot
bring
to
the
drink.
scotch. 'Cause,
Lauren's a
Errickson.
Disney guru.
Oh,
Like she loves Disney,
it's
right? So like, right, I was actually
Disney Halloween.
before I left today. She's got our second family room set up, and it's like Foolish Mortals and all these like Haunted Mansion things, because Halloween's her favorite holiday. She loves Halloween. And but I woke up the other morning because we went to bed kind of early. We were watching some horror movies. That's what we do in Halloween time. We set the mood. We
like real ones or the Disney ones?
No, real ones. No.
we don't. Neither. I got lucky. My wife and I. Neither of us do anything remotely scary. Like, I don't even play zombies on Call of Duty.
Oh, no,
I can't do scary. anything.
No, we
Total
love
wuss. The biggest guy you know, total wuss.
So like 4 a.m. I wake up, and this happens.
I don't
to
even
me.
kill spiders.
I don't. My wife does.
Yeah.
It happens to me. I wake up sometimes. So this particular day, I wake up. It's a work day. It's not a weekend. It's a normal business day. It's like 4 a.m. So I wake up, get onto my email. We got a bunch of quote requests for a bunch of warranty work for MBTs and stuff like that. I start sending out quotes, correspondences, like access emails to coordinate. And the coordinator from this particular customer, I call her at like 6 o'clock our time because she's on the East Coast, and she's like, "Were you sending emails at 4 o'clock in the morning?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And she was like, "Do you ever sleep?" And like people ask me this all the time, right? I'm like, Lauren, to tell you, the answer is no. Like I'll lay down for like 4 hours, I'm up, and I'm back at it again. You know, so it's the same thing with him. Like it's hilarious because he reaches out to me, and I'm like, I almost subconsciously laugh sometimes because it's almost like sometimes I want to tell him, like, you know I'm awake.
Yeah.
Like, you know I'm working. And that's what it is. And that's part of being a business owner, you know. I mean, you probably dealt with it in the beginning with Altair, but like for us, it's like all I do is work. Lauren says that all the time. She said, all you do is work from like, she don't even put hours on it. She's just like, all you do is work, period. Like no matter what, because there's always something that needs to be done. But no, it's been great. Like he calls me for a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's just to talk. I used to say this when I was a manager at Pierce. I used to say, I had people that we would call. People would call me. Sometimes they knew the answer, right? It wasn't even that they needed the answer.
Just to check.
They just wanted the affirmation.
Sure.
To say, like, if this was you.
Well, and that's the best part of the tech network. Like, in my head, that's what, like, my dad talks about, like, his connections are a superpower. In my head, it's the tech network. And everybody knows everybody or has everybody's number. And, like, I still get calls from 2 companies ago on a site where I haven't worked in a year. And there's guys, hey, I'm looking at this unit. It's got this fault code. I think it's this. Do you agree? Yeah, I agree. Okay, thanks. And I won't hear from him for like another year.
Yeah.
But like the ability to do that, like I've never worked in an industry like that. Like when I was truck driving, we had our truck driver friends that we had met, and we would just call them bullshit. Like it was just, calling to have a conversation to sort of kill some of the monotony of being on the road constantly. Mm-hmm. But like, even with Steven, like we probably have like 40% killing the monotony conversations, but 60% of the time it's like he's teaching me something, or like he's just got a hair up his ass about some MVT theory and like how electrical theory and how something works, and he's like, hey, do you know that this is how this works? I'm like, no. And he'll just go on for like 45 minutes teaching me about it. But then like I will, the way that my brain works, I'll then start Googling it and I'll find some YouTube video explaining it. And then now I'm learning. Like the other night, we were talking about the other night, the ratio in a transformer and how that works. And I was like, all I can tell you is I know that more reps, higher voltage, less reps, less voltage. And then he like explained a bunch of stuff to me, and then I was watching YouTube videos about it. So like, no, the ability to do that in our business is super cool. And I don't know if that's a thing that, you guys with the different industry experiences, if you guys have that, or if it's just like solar and renewables is so small or, so condensed right now that
it's period.
Well,
it's period, right?
I think society in general. So I remember when cell phones became a thing.
Remember the bag phone?
Oh, okay.
Bag
Grandpa.
phone was my first. Bag phone was my first.
The car phone?
What is bag phone? Jacob says.
Wow.
So the first cell phones, it was in a bag about like this big, kind of soft-sided. And it had a nice power supply in it, and you take out a cord and you plug it into the cigarette lighter of your car. Now they call them DC 12-volt charging ports. They used to be cigarette lighters. And it was 6 watts. I mean, this thing was powerful. Like your cell phone today, I think is maybe 1.5 or something, right? They're maybe less than that with the 5G because it's so close. But it was like 6, so you could broadcast further. And that's it. And it had a cord. Pick it up.
In a bag?
The cord went to the bag.
And a sling because it
So
was so
I had
heavy.
I had this in the truck. And when these came out, and several of the good technicians and leaders back then, they give these to because people would want to call and get questions answered, right? So it was like that back in the 90s. And then you had tiny ones come out. But
when I was born.
You better put this as a photo on the show.
Do you know what a Rolodex is?
I do because of my dad.
Okay.
But I can't tell you that would be true if I had like Joe Blow that worked at
this?
Sears as a father. You know what I mean?
So Rolodex is a physical thing with little cards that you'd turn over and you'd have contact information on it, right?
Like the contacts app on our phone.
Exactly like that. Except you didn't have to fill it out.
That's exactly right.
That one you had to fill out.
With a pencil or pen.
You lost it, you were done.
So, you would say, when there's something you don't know, all right, open up the Rolodex, let's find out, right? Because you need to call your network.
The phone book.
And if you didn't have a Rolodex, well, you certainly were not invited to this group that we're going to solve a problem.
I don't think they make a phone book anymore.
Well, no, they don't. And I remember that. The phone book, you could look.
We're getting more scotch. You guys are missing it.
We were in school opening the phone book like, whose name is this? Absolutely.
Hey, you know what we need, Jacob?
Yeah.
We need a camera on you like Jamie from JRE. We need to have a
We're gonna get there.
like pipe a cam, like a webcam or something on that monitor, so that when we have Jamie pull
You
that up
remember when
and you
they
can
switched
click on your
the
webcam.
bag phone to the car phone, and it was permanently installed in the
Yeah,
car?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
on the dash.
That's right.
The phone was.
So if you sold your,
the car phone, I did not know of the bag.
It was like
I didn't know about the bag phone
So the
either.
bag-
I had no idea.
The
that there
bag phone
bag
was the
phone.
portable car phone. It was the phone that you could take to any car and use, right? The car
Yeah.
phone was like, hey, this is the stationary.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, my parents had both, right? So I'm 36. I'm not that old, right? Like, but I remember. In fact, my mom still makes jokes. She is still on the same Verizon number. She has been since I was born. Right, like
36,
still
pretty good.
I mean, yeah, she's working almost 40 years
Pretty
on that
good.
on that same phone number.
is there email at AOL.com?
Not anymore, but I remember.
It changed just
I remember
recently.
dial-up for sure, but
I had a friend that just cut it over. Oh, cheers.
the bag phone was an
Here's what has
interesting
to be
one.
our second hour by now.
The bag phone was an interesting one, but
I mean, it. I don't know if it saved anything, but it sure as heck cut out a lot of time for a lot of people when you could get an answer. And then when you got the smaller ones and you're up tower and you can make a phone call. I mean, we had radios that had some sort of global positioning technology that could call a cell phone from a radio off of the repeater tower.
is that a ham radio?
When the it must have been something similar, but when the bag phones came out, you had this cellular technology, right? And so could you get a radio that was off your repeater that could communicate to that bag phone?
Yeah,
And there was that technology for a while.
yeah.
So even before the cell phone up tower, you could give all your texies.
Man, you guys really fumbled around in the Stone Age. Like you just like radio to cell
Hey,
phone.
Listen,
back
in my
to-
defense, I was
figured it
not
out.
doing work at that time. Okay, I would be in the car, and Dad would be like, "Can't get a hold of your mom. Let me try again." Right, and we had a bag phone. I remember it, and he's right. It was a small leather. It was probably about this big, right, like this big, and you would open this bag up, and it was literally like
Pull that cord out and plug it in, though.
buttons on the top of it, right? I mean, the phone was about this long.
Pounds.
Oh, it was not heavy. No, this was like
3 pounds, maybe, right?
Yeah, not much.
this thing weighed less than a laptop these days. Probably, and he's right. It had a cigarette plug. You plugged it in. You pulled it off the hook. It had a small little
Which one of
LCD
these is
screen.
mine? What happened? What'd you do?
I'll
Took
drink
the fuller
them.
one, didn't
I'll
you?
drink them both if you want. But it's crazy because now we have technology where you can video a guy and walk them through the process, right? It's
And they can latch their cell phone to their hard hat, and you can see what they're doing. And
That shit's cool.
It's crazy. And so, which is why I do have a personal goal in my life a little later to raise and train carrier pigeons, because I'm going to go full circle with my life.
full circle.
Full circle. I'm going to send you little notes on carrier pigeons. What's Up Renewables is growing, and we're looking for new sponsors to join us. Our show connects leaders, innovators, and field professionals across the renewable industry, and our sponsors are part of that conversation. Some have seen their network expand instantly. Others have grown revenue and brand visibility through the connections they've made right here. If you want your company to reach the people driving the future of clean energy, now's the time to get involved. Contact us at media@whatsuprenewables.com to become a sponsor today.
Adam, I have a question for you. This is sort of, you're typically the interviewer, and you interview people for your show. And I'm not going to take over, but I do have a question for you.
I'll answer anything you got.
In the tech network topic, and in the the space of who can you reach out to, who do you remember from your career early on till now? Who was the most reliable, most valuable source that you reached out to? And I guess, are you still in contact with them? Where are they now? What's your relationship like? Because I guess what I'm asking is, what is mine and Steven's relationship going to look like in 10 to 15 years? Are we still going to be friends who talk, or is this like a phase of our career?
Gotcha. Some of them I still talk to today. Some of them I don't talk to very often, but when either of one of us sends a message, the other picks up the the phone instantly
Awesome.
and reconnects.
Yeah.
So no, there are some people in my life I might have went 10 or 15 years without any real connection. But then you pick up the phone, you leave a voicemail, the other returns it immediately.
Yep.
And if they're doing something new and they're calling their network and need something, we deliver it for each other.
That's awesome.
It doesn't change. There's not a single person in my life. Give me a second. I've been at this like 28 and a half years.
Well,
of my
and that's
career.
why it's part.
that-
It's like asking my dad this question.
Nobody is written off in my book, and I don't believe anybody has written me off either. So the network is still there, but you continue to grow, right?
Yep.
You know, I don't know how many contacts are in that magic box there, but more than I could ever remember, right? And so they're there because you build these relationships. And you know, Wyatt, if you and I don't talk for another 10 years, and I call you, you're probably going to call me back, and vice versa, right? And it's the same way. We all understand our lives take different paths, and maybe it's new family adventures, maybe it's new career adventures, maybe you leave renewables altogether and then you come back. No, we network and we connect. And here's the other thing about that, I should say, because as you age, you get sometimes super busy. And so if you reach out to somebody and they don't respond, I don't care if it's a day or a decade, don't give up. They're just busy. It's not personal. Keep following up and you two will get connected again.
Yeah.
Don't be upset about it. It's happened to me where I've reached out to people and it's like 2 years later and they follow up and like, holy shit, yes, I do need to talk about this thing. Or I already figured it out, but it's good to catch up.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And you give each other a little bit of, you know, trash talk when it happens, right? But yeah, no, I can think of one just a year or two ago in my life, and we got reconnected, and he goes, you know, you answered my message after 3 years, you know, so he flipped me some shit, and I deserved it. I deserved it, right? But he didn't take it personal, right? He just knows.
Like, more
life-
appreciative that you
life-
did respond. Period.
Life happens.
You get busy, man.
Yes, and it's not we're ever trying to hurt someone.
Yeah.
But how much bandwidth does one human have, right? You just respect that and you go on. So no, the answer is the bond that you've created, the network connection that you're building, it doesn't ever end. You may not talk for some periods of time, but it's always there.
What about you, Steve? Like any specific person, if you want to name them, or just any like relationship that has stuck with you, because I mean you did some shit at MaxGen and then Pierce. Like you've got a kind of a cool career. Like who does the master reach out to? Like who's Mr. Miyagi's Mr. Miyagi? That's a great way to form that.
I think the unique thing about me is that there isn't one. So for me, it's more like,
Or there's 5.
it's like supportive conversation, right? Like, so for me, it's like when I'm calling, it's never like, hey, I need the answer. It's like, hey, I have this problem. This is what I think. What do you think? Right? It's like a note comparison. Joe Hummel from Emanate, he holds license for Emanate, is the guy who signed off on my electrical license. He's the guy who recruited me to come from the DG side of MaxGen when I worked for Rock to go to the utility side to fix the projects that we were dealing with in Pennsylvania. Sometimes I just call Joe. Nowadays, it's more or less, what are you doing? This is what I'm doing. Thanks for the opportunity that you gave me. Occasionally, there's guys like Craig McCann is another one that he helped build a lot of the projects for Sun Edison that we worked on throughout the years. But it's those relationships never really die, like Adam said, right? It's like everyone gets busy, life gets in the way, business gets in the way.
Yeah.
You work for different companies, and sometimes when you work for different companies, you lose track of these people, not because you want to, but because you're just dealing with other people, right?
They're outside your orbit now.
Yeah, they're outside of your direct chain of command or the people that you're used to corresponding with on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they are outside, and sometimes, like, I can't tell you how many times I've called people and been like, hey, I know you're not dealing with this anymore, but can I just run this by you because this is what I think?
Yep.
Right. So I think the ones that probably come to me the most are probably the old MaxGen personnel, right? Like, because we spent so much time together, right? Combination of that and some of the friends that I made over the years working with Pierce. There were some guys that were really, really good technicians. There's a guy named Logan who's in the Midwest who is one of those examples. And just people in general, right? So for me, when I call, there's even some people outside of the organization, couple guys that work for like Voltix and maybe even other organizations that have moved on from where I met them from, that I still kind of reach out to and say, hey, I'm in a bind. Oftentimes than not, what I find myself reaching out for is help procuring shit.
Yep.
It's not really, seriously, it's not, it's oftentimes, or I run into a situation and I'll say, like, I have a guy named Frank in Texas who I met through Joe when I was at MaxGen. Frank is one of our suppliers. He gets us Frank is the guy to call when no one can get the shit, like now.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, and sometimes I call Frank, and Frank is much older than me. He's got a lot of experience doing this stuff, right? And I'll call him and I'll say, hey, I know you're ancient, right? So, like, I have to ask you, have you ever seen this before? And Frank will be like,
You're an asshole. Yeah, I've seen
this is what's happening, right? Or you won't believe the shit that you see over the next 20 years of your life. And I think it's more or less those people that I connect with. But what I can say is, like Adam said, you never really lose the relationship with those people, right? It could be, and I think that's part of like doing your best job, serving the stuff that you got from your dad, the stuff I got from my dad, is like, hey, we don't have to be best friends, right? You don't have to call me and say, how's the kid? Merry Christmas. What are you doing? Did you buy that house, right? But it's about reliability. It's about, okay, hey, I'm in a situation and I need someone that can get me out of this situation.
Yep.
And that's more common what it is. Really what ends up happening for me is people call me more times and say, hey, saw you started your own thing. Saw you left your job. How's things going? I'm happy for you.
Checking in on a personal level.
Right. What are you working on? Sometimes it's people that connect and say, is there anything that I could help you with? Right. Or, hey, since you're doing this now, right? Like Craig actually did this to me. I called him. We were working on a job for a client. It was a unique transformer circumstance. There was some really off the wall. I think me and you talked about it a little bit, Wyatt.
Yep.
There's some unique off the wall shit happening on this job, and he's like, hey, I'm going to connect you with this engineer. Like, let me make an introduction, right? Like, this is outside of my wheelhouse, or this is my suggestion. So a lot of times it's more like constructive conversation, right? Or what I like to call collaborative brainstorming, right? But no, I don't think that there's probably not one sole person. I do still to this day call the old CEO from MaxGen from time to time. We got to catch up at RE Plus when I was out there with you. And I think it's more or less about just connecting with people, letting people know what you're doing, keeping that network open. I don't think I could think of a specific situation where it's ever been, I would say, worth noting specifics, because I feel like in the industry, every person you deal with eventually realizes that, hey, this was a business relationship that we had, and he'll reach out to me when business is needed.
Yeah.
Versus
I got a name for you. You were looking for names. I'll give you a name. But first, I want to ask Steve, at what age will you call me and say, yo, I know your agent?
I don't know. How far apart are we in age?
About a decade, I think.
Like 10 years?
Yeah. How much time I got before that's my phone call?
Probably got 10 years before Steve
That's
wakes
it.
up one day and he's like,
That's it.
man, my knees hurt.
When you reach 60,
Yeah.
I'll do it just to make you feel good.
Man, I'm gonna challenge you to a run around the block or something to
It's
find out who is ancient.
Hey,
60? I got this.
no, that guy. Well, listen, that dude has been doing MVHV work probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, no,
So,
I was just teasing. I
but-
was just teasing you.
But I mean, if you need me to do it, I could wait a little bit. Why don't you tell me what year you want me to call you?
I'm just saying, when you do it,
Probably never, I think is the
I'm gonna turn
is the
around
goal.
some of that Philly gangster.
I will always.
That's what I'm saying.
I will always say, like I say, me and Adam actually, we talk about this constantly, right? I say, if I have a wind problem, I'm calling you. In the wind world, I think Adam is already ancient, not because of his age, but because
The Godfather of Wind. I brought this
of
up on our
experience.
episode.
Because
Here
of
we
his-
go.
Because of experience.
Let's race up the tower right now. No,
I couldn't do it.
That's the Scotch talking.
I
All right,
couldn't
I
do
do have a name for you. I do have a name for you. My classmate Tim Davis.
Okay.
I call him Timmy, and we were really close. High school, early 20s, early life. Got separated 10, 15, 20 years maybe. I don't know. He calls me up because he's catching up on family. All these things change, and he launched a company, Affinity Power. And I'm doing all things EV chargers, installing them, electrical contractor, residential, commercial, industrial, and EV chargers. And great, how can we work together? So we start doing some jobs together.
That's awesome.
And when we see each other out there, it's, well, hey, Timmy, and he goes, yo, Tiefer. I don't care what client or person is around. Hey, Tiefer, he turns this way. So nothing's changed, and we might have went all that time. And he's right here in Tehachapi, Affinity Power, Tim Davis.
Well, so, and I asked
that
you.
was maybe 15 years of break between us.
No, and that's awesome. The reason I ask is I've got 4 years now in this industry, specifically for renewables. And probably one of my oldest contacts, and I just reconnected after 2 years of not talking. And it's not 15 years, but it is, a lot has happened in 2 years.
Yeah, relatively, it's a lot.
And, call him up. And the last time we worked together, him and I were, I was flying a drone, doing DC Health. We would put the drone up, we would identify, 20 bad strings, and then we would go either change 20 bad fuses or fix some MC4s or something, fix some harnesses. And we just did that for most of AES and S Power's portfolio down there in Lancaster and Palmdale. And so the last time I really worked with him was there, and I hadn't really talked to him. And I call him up one day because we're hiring for something out in Ohio, and I was like, oh, he's from Ohio. Maybe he wants to go back. And I call him up, and he's like, hey, man, I'm mowing my lawn in Texas. I was like, oh, you moved? He's like, yeah, actually, I just got a job. I'm the, sole, Tech 3 O&M provider for a 30 megawatt with batteries plant and out near San Antonio. And so he bought a house out there and is moved his family out there, and we've text message checked in over the years, and he had a couple kids. I just had my son. We sort of checked in, but it was the first time we've really had a check in and talked about, man, can you believe 2 years ago that we were out there in the field talking about the stuff that we wanted to do when we were debt free, the stuff we wanted to do when we were more experienced, the stuff remember when we couldn't wait to touch an inverter, and now it's oh, that's old news. And so it was really cool. His name's Christian Altamirano is what he likes to be called. Okay. Really cool dude, really cool dude. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, I'd be interested to hear what you guys were. So
I think you're going to find that that's just going to continue in perpetuity, right? You continue to build those relationships and be a genuine person with high integrity. It's just never going to end. It just doesn't end. And I see people 20, 30 years my senior that continue to have that, right? And are, beloved by their network and the people that they work with. And I watch them now and I go, how do I get there? And they're just great people.
So if you want a name, I will give you a name. My circumstance is unique because he's really a good friend of mine. He's like a brother to me.
And I'm not asking to be intrusive.
No, not at all.
Like,
Not
put it
at
on
all.
your brain. Like, what is who is it in your head?
So to me, probably the most valuable relationship in renewables was Bass from Pierce. And Bass is their SCADA expert. Me and Bass spent a lot of time side by side with him at the opposite end of the phone. He taught me everything that I know about SCADA and communication. Bass comes to my house in Tehachapi and he plays Monopoly with my kids.
That's
right?
awesome.
Bass is a guy that is busy like me. We don't talk every day. He's one of my best friends, but we might not talk for a month. Sometimes we might not talk for 6 months. But every time that we communicate, we pick up exactly where we left off. And sometimes he calls me just to say, God, I wish I was still had you on the other end of the phone, or I hate dealing with this technician, or not hate dealing with this technician, but it's just like, I miss having somebody. And Bass was my biggest cheerleader. He still is to this day.
Like, I miss having the chemistry that we had where I could tell you about a problem. You already had the solution. You could go
100%, man.
Instead of having to explain it, out in detail. And
when I decided to leave Pierce, he was one of the first phone calls I made. And, he basically said to me, he was like, I know you're going to do amazing. It really saddens me that we're going to basically not be able to work together at the level that we have over the years, because when I took over the projects in Pennsylvania, Bass was already moved to the utility side of MaxGen, and we worked on the DG side of MaxGen for a long time together. And he basically said when I moved over to utility, he was hype. He was like, I'm so happy. He was like, you are going to fix all this shit, right? And we did. We fixed a lot of stuff. But it's tough now. It's hard now because I did get to catch up with him at RE Plus. We spent a lot of time together at RE Plus. But he is probably the one person that no matter how much time passes, no matter how little we speak to each other, and no matter what, we always pick up at the same spot where we left off. When he comes to, and I'm originally from the East Coast, I'm originally from right outside of Philly. When he comes to town, like, I'm one of the first calls he makes, like, hey, I'm flying in, XYZ, let's go grab food. When we both worked at Pierce, it would often be, hey, you got any projects? Like, can we go see a job? Can we go fix some shit? Because that's what we were known for. But, excuse me, Bass is probably that person for me. Like, no matter, it doesn't matter. And it's because our relationship was rooted in, like, such substance, like, and it was, he spent, if there was ever a person that was like, all right, Adam, if you want to hear the stories of Steve Errickson, that's the guy. Because so many times Bass has been there. I mean, there's been remote situations, there's been in-person situations, like there was a time in New Jersey. I'll tell this story because Adam will like this story. I'll tell it.
I don't think you're hearing any bad stories.
No, it's not a bad story. It's not a bad story. So we had a transformer in Northwest Jersey. We had two situations. We had, this particular project had a lot of fiber layout. It had all the production meters were back at the point of tie-in, right? So at the POI. There was a bunch of solar in a field that was about 3/4 of a mile to a mile away from this location. So there was a bunch of Ethernet to fiber converters happening. They basically lost communication to every single production meter. They were Ion 8600s. They lost communication to every single meter on the project. So they sent a bunch of people. They sent a guy from California who couldn't fix it. They sent guys on the East Coast who couldn't fix it. At this time, I was already on the utility side of MaxGen. So these DG projects landed back in my lap. These were projects I used to service all the time at MaxGen. And they were like, hey, can you fix this? And I was like, yes, send me Bass. I need a second. So me and Bass go out there the night before Thanksgiving. So
who can you call?
So yeah, exactly. who can you call? So
well done.
So Bass is like got family in New Jersey. I'm originally from New Jersey, right outside of Philly. So Bass is coming to town. He's like, well, guys, hey, I got family. Ironically, where he was going for Thanksgiving was literally like 30 minutes from my mom's house. So they're like, okay, let's send Bass out with Steve. So we go out there. I have multiple jobs to do at this time. We have to troubleshoot the fiber situation to get all these production meters back online. We also have to replace a dry transformer, right? 208Y to a Delta. So I'm doing all these things. Me and Bass literally fix these meters in like 3 hours, right? So we get a fiber optics tester out there, just basically a laser. We get on the phone, again, the phone, right?
Yep.
Couldn't have done it this easily if it wasn't. We'd have had walkie-talkies or something 15 years ago.
Send a
20 years
telegraph
ago.
up the chain.
Right, send a telegraph up the train, up the chain. And we fixed this. We basically identify a bunch of spare pairs. What we learned was that the fiber connections were basically dirty, right? They were no longer transmitting. So we find a bunch of circumstances and we're like, okay, fine. This transformer was having an issue. I wasn't sure if it was an underground fault. It was a long day. Thanksgiving is the next day. Me and Bass are at dinner at Five Guys in town. We're eating a burger. And I was pretty confident that we were okay, but I wasn't 100% sure, like, because I was worried that there was a break in the underground, which I later we found out there wasn't. But I literally looked at him and I was like, I gotta go back. And he's like, what? I'm like, I gotta go back. You can go, or you can go home, or whatever you want to do, but I gotta go back and isolate that. And we did. We went back and we isolated the transformer, and he always tells people, he's like, I couldn't leave him hanging, right? And we spent our whole career doing stuff like that, right? Like, yeah. When I showed up, I think one of the things that made me different, and if Bass was here, he would tell you this, I was never the kind of guy that been like, we can fix this tomorrow. Because I went home and I felt defeated, right? So it's like, when we were out there, and maybe this wasn't always the best choices for overtime and budget and the things that they like to talk about, but I'm fixing this.
Quality's quality.
I don't care how long this takes.
There's nothing worse than having to put down, troubleshooting something in the middle of troubleshooting something. And, hey, you come back and work on it tomorrow.
No.
I want to finish it now.
No. But me and Bass spent so much time together. And he used to tell people, because people would ask him, they're like, why is Steve your favorite? Like, no matter what, like, and he would tell people, it's like, not to take anything from Steve's ability, because Steve's ability is insane. He was like, but it was his mentality. It was always Steve's mentality. Inability to fail.
That's right.
You mentioned that on the first show. That right there, and even Caleb and the guys that work with me now tell me that. They said, dude, like, we love being on your team because your team is not a losing team.
You can't fail if you don't quit.
You can't quit, bro.
That's it.
No matter how long it is.
Don't quit.
That's why we're going to finish that bottle.
Well, I don't know. Like, it works for marriages and businesses, but I don't know about Scott.
Doesn't work for Scott?
I'm not sure. I give you a little more. You still got
okay.
some in your.
No, I'm okay.
We'll finish that bottle in like 2 months. We'll do this again.
Why?
That's not enough for another episode.
Great question. And man, you got some, I think, amazing years in front of you, buddy. Continue to grow that career, build your network, and build your friendships and those connections. And you're in for a wild ride. Nothing negative is in front of you with that kind of a mindset.
Well, and someday when you're certifiably ancient, I will bring my son on the show. And we can talk about his future.
Certifiably ancient.
I said someday because it'll be like in 30 years.
Yeah. I'm still. Is there a test? Can I compete against being ancient?
You look younger than me, so I'll give you that.
Because I don't know how to compete other than the stupid birthday, but it's the wrinkles. I need
Listen,
wrinkle cream.
If it makes you feel better, I thought we were the same age.
It makes me feel a lot better.
Okay. All right. If it makes you feel better.
Well, let's wrap it up. One more little toast. And Wyatt, thank you so much for recommending this podcast. because I did not, right there. I did not know that you guys had gotten connected and been working together this past month. So that was a pleasant surprise.
Oh, you got some.
To both me and Jacob to hear that was happening.
Well, and it's, you know,
it
it really is.
idea.
It's like serendipity, you know. It was like one or two text messages, and then,
Off
you
we
know,
go.
called him one day. Hey, yeah, my name's Wyatt, and I do this and I do this. And he's like, hey, my name's Steven, and I'm from Philly, and I knew Rocky when he was a kid, and. You know what I mean? But like, okay, I didn't know you were from Philly the first time we talked on the phone, and I was like, this guy sounds like he's out of a Rocky movie. Like, he sounds like a Philadelphia fighter. And then he started talking, he was like, yeah, I'm from Philly. And I was like, oh.
Clearly you know about Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I love the concept.
It has just picked
Wyatt.
up and taken off. It's awesome.
And I'm going to wrap it up. And congrats on the promotion and the new role and all the excitement that you're having. And Steve, thanks for continuing to be there for all of the customers
no
and
problem.
clients and your friends. Jacob, cheers.
Cheers.
It's cool.